I'll put you in a grid 6 feet like Kenny.
Call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god.
Good afternoon and welcome to Premier League Live this Sunday afternoon in a double header of Premier League action this Sunday with Brighton taking on Aston Villa in our first game before we end the afternoon at Anfield, where Liverpool take on Tottenham at 4:30. Also this afternoon, another 2 o'clock kickoff we'll be keeping an eye on is Chelsea against West Ham United. Well, that is our match focus game today, so we'll keep you up to date with that one as it happens in that London derby at Stamford Bridge. But here at the Amex Stadium, as the players emerge from the tunnel, Brighton, well, their European dream of back-to-back European seasons seems to be coming to a pretty dismal end at the end of this season. Doesn't look like European football's on the horizon for them. But Aston Villa, they're in the Conference League, still in the Conference League in the semi-finals. They're going to do not just one better, possibly two better, and get Champions League football back to Villa Park for next season. A win here would put them 10 points clear of Tottenham in 4th position. Aston Villa on the verge of Champions League football once again for over 20 years. To today's teams, and we start with Roberto De Zerbi's side, who have had a real bad patch in their last few games, winless in their last 5 in the Premier League. They start with Bart Verbruggen in goal, a back 5 of Adam Webster, Joel Veltman, Igor Julio, Lewis Dunk the captain, and Pascal Gross in defence. Facundo Buonanotte and Billy Gilmour start in midfield, with a very attacking front 3 of João Pedro, Danny Welbeck and Simon Adingra up front. On the bench for Brighton this afternoon is Steele, Barco, Afaya, Enciso, Pepion, Moder, Baleba, O'Mahony and Fati. For Aston Villa, an Unai Emery side beaten on Thursday night in the Europa Conference League semi-final first leg, but they want to bounce back with a victory to get them Champions League football here this afternoon. Robin Olsen starts in goal, a back 4 of Diego Carlos, Esri Konsa, Pau Torres and Luca Digne make up the back line. Douglas Luiz and John McGinn in central midfield, with McGinn the captain, and an attacking 3 or 4, well a 4, of Leon Bailey, Morgan Rogers, Moussa Diaby and Ollie Watkins leading the line. On the bench for Villa, a few youngsters as well, including Kian Keisler-Hayden and also Tim Irabunum. John Duran, Amari Kellyman is also on the bench, alongside Cash, Longley, Moreno, Chambers and Joe Gauci, their third choice goalkeeper. It's Brighton against Aston Villa at the Amex Stadium. Villa on the verge of Champions League football. Brighton, maybe if they win this afternoon, you never know, they could make a late push for Europe. But is it too little, too late for Roberto De Zerbi's side? Kickoff is on the way next. Good afternoon and welcome to Premier League Live here on LFS for this watch-along commentary with me, Kevin Ferris, of Brighton against Aston Villa this afternoon. Do subscribe, hit that like button and turn on post notifications because you don't want to miss anything in the round-off of this 2023-2024 season here on LFS. Well, Unai Emery's side will need to bounce back from defeat in Europe in the midweek. They'll be ready for it. We're beaten at home in midweek and drew last time out in the league as well. Brighton, without a win in any competition in their last 6. Their last Premier League win was on the 10th of March, almost 2 months ago since they last won. But it was on this ground that they got that last victory against Forest back on the 10th of March. And they were even in Europe at that point, the last time they got a home win in the Premier League. Right, ready to go then. Brighton and Aston Villa at the Amex Stadium in our match day 36 fixture. Time is running out. Games are running out for these two teams to achieve their objectives. Villa on the verge of Champions League qualification for next season. At the moment they stand 7 points clear of Tottenham. Tottenham in 5th on 60 points. Aston Villa in 4th on 67 at the start of play. Remember, Villa, after this game, will have played 2 more games than Tottenham. Tottenham to play later this afternoon against Liverpool, and they have that game in hand against Manchester City to come in about 10 days' time as well. So Spurs have extra games over Villa where they can try and catch up, but if Villa don't drop points and they keep doing their job, Aston Villa, Champions League football will be an inevitability to come to Villa Park, and Spurs will have to settle for Europa League football. But any sort of European football for Spurs would be an improvement, considering they didn't have any to come into this season with. It's all about Aston Villa. I mean, we've seen Aston Villa this season really destroy some teams, including this team in Brighton earlier this season. Absolutely pummeled them 6-1 at Villa Park in the reverse fixture back in September. Absolutely dramatic game that was. I'd love even half the goals that we saw that day. Header down by Konsa. Back to Diego Carlos. And of course, we've seen very different ideas from Unai Emery in making those changes, but he's gone very strong this afternoon. That's what we like to see. Here's Douglas Luiz. Out wide to Luca Digne. Villa having the better of the early possession. Diaby into the box it comes. Down went Morgan Rogers. The referee moved. Rob Jones did not make him move a muscle there. Morgan Rogers was claiming for the penalty. I don't think any of his teammates were. We've already seen some penalty drama this weekend. We'll not get into that because I cannot be annoyed. Rob Jones is our referee this afternoon. VAR is Michael Oliver. So Michael Oliver would have had a check to make sure, or to keep a check on that that possible penalty. Here's Adingra for Brighton in the meantime. Adingra chopped on to his right foot and struck the ball. A bit tame in the end, but a nice strike towards Robin Olsen. Really nice ball down the left-hand side from Brighton. And that high line from Villa will be a frailty. It's been all season at times when they have conceded goals. It's been because of their high line at times. And that doesn't mean that they're going to move away from that system. It's Buonanotte here with this penalty decision. Yeah, it's not really much in that for me. In that penalty decision there. I think it's a good decision by the referee, Rob Jones. If there was a problem, VAR would have checked it and would have changed the decision, and I don't think it was a penalty. From first look, it looked a bit strange, but it didn't look like a stonewaller, and it certainly wasn't. And the officials agreed. Well, initially we thought that Brighton were going to play a back 5. They're playing a back 4 at the moment. As Villa try and play it for Diaby is nice work from Verbruggen to clear it away. It looks like Brighton are setting up in a 4-2-3-1. It looks like they're matching Aston Villa at this moment in time. With Veltman and Igor, the full-backs. Webster and Dunk, the centre-backs. And then Pascal Gross and Billy Gilmore in that midfield. And then with the three of Adingra, Pedro and Buonanotte, and then Danny Welbeck up front. Looks to be they're matching up Aston Villa in their formation at this moment. As they're dispossessed there. Luca Digne on the cover. Gets it back for Villa. Here's Pau Torres. And, you know, we talk about managers doing absolutely fantastic jobs at football clubs. No one more in the Premier League than Unai Emery has come into the Premier League and been absolutely transformed this Aston Villa team into European challengers. Something that Villa were hoping to get towards in the future. Here's Morgan Rogers, tried to play it in behind, gets another chance. Here's Diaby. Diaby with a cross, straight at Verbruggen. A nice interchange of play between the Villa forwards. Really nice ball initially from Carlos, right through the lines to find Rogers, completely unmarked. Rogers turns away, tries to play it through to Watkins, first time blocked. Plays it out wide to Diaby, and Diaby looking for the cross. Back into the box, slow and hard, but straight into Verbruggen's hands. But nice idea from Villa, and that's the kind of position that Morgan Rogers has been picking up in the last few weeks, and he's been a really interesting addition to the Aston Villa side. Signed him from Middlesbrough, did Villa, from the Championship, and there was talk before about signing a Championship player. Is he going to come into the Premier League team and do the business and deliver at this level? 21-year-old, a lot of experience, a lot of learning to do really in the side, but since coming into the team he's really been a breath of fresh air for Aston Villa. He's offered something completely different for them, and really that kind of link-up player that before they didn't always have, as Douglas Luiz tried to win the ball back, but the referee said it was a foul, as he did get the ball, but foul according to the referee. But as I was saying, Morgan Rogers kind of in that role, in behind the centre-back, in that 10 role. I mean, we look at Villa. I mean, Jacob Ramsey was kind of playing that role early in the season. Of course, injured at this moment. Zaniolo can play in that position. Kamara can kind of work in there. Buendia. But mostly, it's not an out-and-out number 10 that Villa have in that position at times. Because usually they would just bring a winger inside. That's a lovely turn of pace from Simon Adingra there. Breaking away from his marker. Has the shot. Big save by Robin Olsen. Comes back out though. Right-footed cross into the back post. And lurking there was Igor. And it had to be headed behind for the Brighton corner. But it all comes from the nice pressing. I think it was Pedro that pressed the ball. Found it to Adingra. Adingra just chopped on very central, right through the ball, and a decent save from Robin Olsen, and then fed out wide again it comes, and the early cross into the box, cleared behind for the corner, of which Pascal Gross will take, but nice move by Brighton there. They nick the ball away from Villa and break on them quickly. Gross whips the ball in, back post it comes, off a Villa head, I thought. It's actually a Brighton head. It has the final touch, so it will be a goal kick to Aston Villa. They are underway, by the way, also in our other game that we're watching this afternoon at Stamford Bridge between Chelsea and West Ham in that London derby. Both sides still with a very possible chance of getting European football this season, Chelsea and West Ham United. At this moment, Chelsea in 8th, West Ham in 9th, only a couple of points off 6th place, those two teams. And they do have a chance at getting a European place. I mean, that would be fantastic for West Ham United to get Europe for once again. European football once more. And Chelsea, kind of a necessary factor. They would love Europe. They need to get back into European competition. They've got a big squad and they need to use it. And if they do, which I'm guessing, all the injuries have probably been a good thing, because there's so many players in that squad for Chelsea that, they're bound to get unhappy at some point if they're not playing. And the injuries, it's kind of eradicated that problem for Mauricio Pochettino this season. I've seen him before work with a really small squad at Tottenham. Not a really small squad, but a relatively small squad. Not hundreds of players, lots of players as Chelsea have, and that's a problem he might have next season. So European football would go a long way in trying to solve that issue. Here's Joel Veltman for Brighton. Tried to break down the right, blocked off by Diaby. Gilmour out to the left-hand side, finds Igor. Igor making the move through the middle, trying to spread it out to the left flank. It breaks for them. Off Consa. Here's Adingra. Adingra with a cross. Headed away by Carlos. Falls back to Pedro, sorry. And it will take a deflection for the corner. Really nice move by Brighton again. We've seen that before, where the fullback comes in field and then he sees the winger out wide and just plays it in behind out to that wide area. And luckily for Brighton, it breaks. Consa thinks he's got it. It falls away from him. A Dinger makes a diagonal run in behind, and then the cut back, and really nice chance there for Brighton again. But a Dinger seems to be the key man for Brighton in these early moments, getting them up the pitch. They have another corner on the left-hand side. It'll be an in-swinging corner, although the referee's going to sort a few things out. Inside the box. A lot of bodies in that box. A lot of bodies are in and around the 6-yard box. 3 Brighton players, 4 Villa players, not including the goalkeeper for Aston Villa. Now it's time to take the corner. Well, they take it short. He whips it in, right-footed, headed on and over the bar by Adam Webster. He got a good chance at it. Got a good clear head on it. Looked very close. Might have come off. Oh, wow! It didn't. It was strange that. Looked like it came off someone's back, but anyway. Nonetheless, it went over the bar and it didn't count. Goal kick to Aston Villa given. Nice move there by Torres. Risky, but he did make it work. His Douglas Luiz now closed down, but does keep the ball in Villa possession with Lucadinha. And so far, these opening minutes, Brighton have been able to find the final third, get into the final third, and finish off a few chances a lot better than Villa. Villa have had just the 1 shot so far. Brighton have had 5. So Brighton certainly getting into the final third more and offering more in attacking areas so far. We've seen very little of Ollie Watkins in these opening minutes. And Leon Bailey, really. Just as I say that, here is Bailey in behind. Down the right-hand side. Leon Bailey on the right flank. Almost lost his balance there. And good challenge by Igor. The referee says no foul. It's carried away as Bailey stayed down on the floor. Stayed down, and the referee's just going to stop the game for the moment to see if Leon Bailey is okay. Just see the replay of this. The challenge. Igor comes right through the back of him. That is a foul. That is a foul, and the clear replay gets none of the ball there, Igor. And that's a clear foul. I mean, he takes both feet from under Leon Bailey. I don't know how the referee didn't give that, but it is a foul. Should be a free kick, and Unai Emery is saying as such to not only the 4th official, but also the assistant referee on that side as well. Both getting an earful from Unai Emery. Here are the assistants. I think it's Ian Husson and Stuart Atwell that are getting the earfuls there on that side. Lucadinha is passing it back to his keeper. Here's Diego Carlos. It just seems Villa are a bit slow at the moment. You know, your Thursday night football, playing in an intense European game, can massively affect your kind of energy levels. You know, Thursday, Sunday's a difficult schedule to fulfill and stay at the highest of intensities and the highest of kind of quality for that quick turnaround in schedule. But that's what Aston Villa have their squad for. And they've not been... And injuries haven't been kind to Aston Villa as well this season. I mean, we talk about their injury list. 8 players out at this moment in time. Tielemans, Buendia, Martinez, Mings, Howes, Camara, Zaniolo and Ramsey. Some key attacking players there, not in the squad. We have a goal at Stamford Bridge to tell you about. And an early goal for the home side. Chelsea have taken the lead against West Ham United in that one, and it is a good goal to get Chelsea off the mark once again at home. That 2-0 win against Tottenham and they're looking to continue their London Derby form with a second successive victory in a London Derby at home, and they would on course to do that so far. Cole Palmer, who else but Cole Palmer, has given Chelsea the lead in that one. So it's Chelsea 1, West Ham United 0. Which, that goal actually, Chelsea do win today, would put them up to 7th. Ahead of Manchester United on goal difference. United still to play though. They head to Palace tomorrow night. And only 2 points behind 6th place Newcastle. So Chelsea getting themselves back into that mix for European football as it stands. So 15 minutes gone. Brighton 0, Aston Villa 0. We talked a lot about Aston Villa and their achievements this season and what they're getting so far, but you know, Brighton have been a real revelation, not only this season but in the last year or two under Roberto De Zerbi. The football they've played since he's come into the club has been nothing short of really beautiful to watch and really exciting. And they've done a number on some big teams, of course, the Liverpools, the Arsenals. Also Manchester United in that time, amongst a lot of others, under Roberto De Zerbi. So they've done the business in the big games against the big clubs, and that's been really entertaining to watch this season. Brighton, and how free-flowing they've been at times. They've just had a tough spell at the wrong stage of the season. As Villa's throw in, really poor and recovered by Brighton, although they send it long and Villa will recover the possession. But Brighton, a remarkable work that Roberto De Zerbi has done at this club since coming in, getting them that first ever European season in the club's history, getting them to play against some of the biggest teams in Europe and competing against some of the biggest teams in Europe, ultimately buying out to Roma in the Europa League this season. But an absolute fantastic feat for Brighton, a club that got promoted to the Premier League for the first time 8 years ago to be in European football and solidified their place in the Premier League, and getting European football now is a massive achievement. So far, they've looked the better of the two teams in terms of the attacking areas. Villa really struggling to get it into the final third and keep it there. Well, they've won it back nicely there with Leon Bailey. Villa, as Brighton a bit lax in possession. Both taking their time, these two teams. Well, we go back and talk about that reverse fixture. Back at the end of September, Aston Villa were 3-0 up by the 26th minute. Ollie Watkins on the double and a Pervis Estupiñán own goal had Villa 3-0 up at half-time. Ansu Fati got one back at the start of the second half for Brighton, but Villa went on to score 3 more goals. Watkins with a hat-trick, Jacob Ramsey and Douglas Luiz with single goals themselves to really rack up the numbers in the tally of goals that time around. That actually made it 6 games unbeaten for Aston Villa. 5 of their last 6 they've won against Brighton, home and away in the Premier League. Since Brighton drew with them here back in February of 2021. Brighton's last win against Aston Villa was back in November 2020 when they won at Villa Park by 2-1. Danny Welbeck and Solly March on the score sheet that time round to give Brighton the 3 points on the road. That was the last time they had beaten Aston Villa in any Premier League fixture. But one thing is for certain, they are yet to beat Aston Villa on their home turf. They've met each other 6 times previously here at the Amex Stadium, and on all occasions Aston Villa have either won or drawn the game, including a cup win here back in September 2019 for Aston Villa. They've drawn 3 of their 5 other meetings here, both in the Premier League and 1 in the Championship as well. back in 2016. So Villa have a good record in this grounds, but Brighton this season have been up and down at home. They've only lost 3 games out of 16 home games. Only the top 5, sorry, in the league have a better than that. The top 5 being Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Aston Villa, and then Newcastle are the only 5 teams with less home defeats, the same or less home defeats than Brighton this season. So they have a decent home record, Brighton. Which will be something that Villa will have to try and overcome and contend with to try and get victory here this afternoon. Here's Bailey. That ball in behind is too overhit to try and find Morgan Rogers. And that will go out for a Brighton goal kick. Just seeing that Adingra chance from earlier. He's really finding that space down the left-hand side of Adingra. That's where the majority of Brighton's attacks are coming from. 44% of their attacks have come down the left-hand side. Only 15% of their attacks down the right flank. So they're certainly targeting Adingra's side to find that outlet for the Seagulls. Simon Adingra, already this season, has been a threat to multiple teams, scored 6 Premier League goals in 21 starts, 27 appearances in total. Decent output, but he hasn't scored in the league for quite a while. His last goal came when he scored 2 goals in one game back in February of 18th of February of this year in a 5-0 win at Sheffield United. Adingra got 2 goals on that day. The last time he scored at home was actually in 2023, was the 9th of December 2023 in a 1-1 draw against Burnley. Adingra, he's certainly showing threat to try and find the net here this afternoon. There is a break in play at the moment. Aston Villa have a player down receiving treatment, so it gives us a bit of time to take a breather halfway through the first half. Nothing to split the two sides at the moment in terms of the scoreline. And it is Morgan Rogers, I believe, that's down. It is. He's receiving treatment at the moment. And don't forget, another Premier League game for you later this afternoon. Liverpool take on Tottenham, a very controversial reverse fixture earlier this season. Very dramatic reverse fixture. Liverpool down to 9 and lost in the last minute from an own goal from Joel Matip. Did Liverpool on that day. They were disallowed a pretty fair goal that time round as well. The rematch. Time for Liverpool to get their revenge, maybe, in their penultimate home game under Jurgen Klopp's charge. That is today, 4:30 here on LFS. This break and play doesn't really help the momentum or tempo of the game, as Rogers still receiving treatment. And it looks to shake of the head, I think, there. Yeah, there's a shake of the head from one of the physios. Rogers is up on his feet, and he's not going to be staying on. He's coming off here. Just applauded the away fans. And the physio has just signalled for a substitution. So Morgan Rogers is coming off. And I think he might be going straight down the tunnel. He is. Straight down the tunnel for Rogers. And we've waxed lyrical about him early doors here. And he's been a breath of fresh air for Villa. Well, he will be not involved in this game no more. And Unai Emery quickly delivering instructions to his team to switch a few things. Just see what way they're going to play after this, as Matty Cash is the one warming up on the sidelines. So we'll see what change is being made here. As Brighton come forward with the extra man advantage. Veltman. Shot blocked in the box. But the flag is up. For offside against Joel Veltman there. And this will give Villa the chance to make this change. Matty Cash is coming on. as his manager Unai Emery delivering him some final tactical instructions. Well, they're not going to make that change just yet, actually. Bit of confusion here. There we are, they are. Bit of confusion. Villa had actually started playing before that. Matty Cash had come onto the pitch, but they have made that substitution now. Cash is on. So we'll see what idea this will be from Aston Villa and what their tactics will turn out to be. It looks like Cash has taken up the role on the right hand side, the right wing at the moment. Still playing a 4-2-3-1 it looks like for Villa. Looks like Diaby's gone through the middle, Cash on the right, and Leon Bailey's gone left. There's the ball in behind for Watkins, but overhit, and Verbruggen will catch, but real jigging about there from Aston Villa. Or maybe a 4-2-2-2 in moments, because Diaby had pushed up there alongside Watkins. Yeah, it might be that as well. We'll see. Interesting. As Brighton have it at the back with Dunk. To Webster now. Getting it forward though, Brighton. Igor found the gap for Gilmore. Now finds Pedro. João Pedro has to go backwards though to Igor. And a Gross. Dunk. Igor again. Brighton passing it around, but in their own half at this moment in time. Villa compact in the middle, not allowing those spaces for Brighton to find their players. As Veltman just kept that ball in play. He didn't actually. Just went out of play. It looked very close. And very close went out of play. So Villa get the throw. In the Scottish Premiership this afternoon, there is a game in the Scottish Premiership title race. Of course, we'll be watching Celtic versus Rangers, that Old Firm derby next Saturday, 12:30 from Celtic Park. Celtic could clinch the title if they win that game against Rangers next week. At the moment, Rangers are doing the business against Kilmarnock just about. They went 1-0 down. They missed a penalty as well, but Fabio Silva's equaliser and Ben Davies' goal has Rangers 2-1 up against 10-man Kilmarnock at Ibrox. And a must-win game for Rangers. They cannot drop any more points before that Old Firm game, and they need to win that Old Firm game if they want to have a hope of a title win. We'll keep an eye on that one as well for you this afternoon. Carlos back to Olsen as Brighton faltered possession there as they tried to go forward a bit too quickly, and Villa just breaking it apart and winning the ball back. Olsen to Carlos, finding Douglas Luiz in the middle. Welbeck on the press, but played off to Pau Torres. Space now for Villa to break down the left hand side. Here's Pau Torres still running, getting into the final third. Torres with a cross. That one's overhit, and it will run out of play at the back post for a goal kick. But made a blistering run there, Pau Torres. But I mentioned earlier we'd seen very little of Ollie Watkins. Well, we've not seen very much more of him. 3 touches in the opening 29 minutes of this game for Ollie Watkins. Not getting him involved. Brighton doing a good job at shielding him from getting the ball at this moment in time. Villa just not doing enough to try and find their star striker. Another goal at Stamford Bridge, and Chelsea, they waited a long time indeed for a second goal against Spurs at the in midweek. Well, they haven't waited much longer for a second against West Ham. They've doubled their lead, and in the first half, Conor Gallagher with the goal on the stroke of 30 minutes has doubled Chelsea's lead. Chelsea 2, West Ham United 0. Chelsea well on course now for back-to-back London derby victories at home. Chelsea, of course, went to Villa Park last weekend. They got a draw. They thought they'd won the game as well at Chelsea last weekend, and I thought they'd won it 3-2, but actually ended up being disallowed that goal in the last minute for Chelsea that they thought was the winner, and cruelly ruled out. Aston Villa were breathing a sigh of relief. They got another point to add to their tally to try and help them to get Champions League football. Here's Igor picking up the loose ball. Gross now. As Brighton try and come forward. Veltman down the right. Has to come back in field to Pascal Gross, who will switch it out to the left. Did take a touch off Matty Cash's head, but does find its way to Adingra. Adingra blocked off by Konsa. Now Igor. Brighton more or less all in Villa's half. As Webster under pressure there. Almost getting caught in possession. That's really nice press from Bailey and Watkins. But Webster did play it off to his keeper. Rescued that one from a cheap giveaway of the possession there for Brighton. Here's Pascal Gross. Webster. Seems like at the moment, despite being very separate in the table in terms of their positions, these two teams seem very well matched at this moment in time. They both seem comfortable defensively in moments, and it's taking the opposition to do twice the work to try and find it into the final third. As a ball in behind here, Adingra on the chase, away by Diego Carlos. As Pedro picks it back up for Brighton again, trying to get them forward, but Villa seem really crowded in that area. Brighton, as Villa have, are now struggling to get it into the final third and keep it there. Usually the wide areas, and here's João Pedro, who's drifted wide to the left. Bodies in the box for Brighton, 5 to be exact. Can't find them yet. Here's Billy Gilmore, who squares it across to Webster. Webster now to Veltman. Veltman tried to play it in behind, does find the gap to play in Gross. Now Veltman again. Veltman with a cross. Away by Pau Torres. Kept alive by Webster. Diaby's ball nicks it forward to try and find Bailey, but really good covering by the Brighton captain Lewis Dunk to rescue that one back for the Seagulls. Higher tempo then in the last moment there from Brighton. They started to find gaps in that final third, spaces for them to exploit. It's that long ball again. Not the right idea that time, and Aston Villa will get the goal kick. And Brighton will certainly want to improve defensively, considering they've scored 3 or more goals in 3 of their last 4 Premier League games, both home and away. Bournemouth, Manchester City and Arsenal, those 3 games where they scored 3 or conceded 3 or more. Kept a clean sheet away at Brentford the last time they kept a clean sheet, which was 5 games ago. Nice turn of the pace from Luca Digne. Looking for Watkins down the left. Lovely touch by Watkins. He's breaking his man's ankles there. Oh, Watkins runs into space, but Brighton just cover it off. And just as you thought he was one-on-one with the keeper, 2 Brighton players come and closed him down. And Ollie Watkins there with an absolute touch of class to take it away from his marker. Completely left him for dead. And all he had to do was try and find the net. Tried to take another touch in field and ended up messing up possession. But it was a really nice link up between Watkins and Digne first time round. Digne then just dinks it over the top of the Brighton player. And then it was Lewis Dunk. He absolutely left the Brighton captain for dead, that Ollie Watkins. Just chopped it with the outside of his right boot in field. And he just runs out of room, and I was confused as to why he doesn't take the shot initially there. And I think he's beating himself up for it in his own head there. He's just got the camera angle of him. Kind of talking through it himself. And João Pedro's gone down. I think he just needs to tie his laces. That seems to be the issue for this moment. It's not an injury, it doesn't look like, for João Pedro. He is challenged, though, by Pau Torres. Oh, he just stamped on his foot, so maybe that is a painful one for João Pedro. Certainly not a good challenge by Pau Torres. And Pedro back up. It's actually his boot, I think, was ripped by the studs of Pau Torres, so he had to change his boots, I think. So that's been dealt with. And as we enter the final 10 minutes of this first half then. Brighton 0, Aston Villa 0. And not very much in front of goal in terms of goal-mouth action the last 20 minutes. One or two opportunities, but nothing of real major concern for either defence at this moment in time. But one defence that has certainly come under a lot of pressure and really struggled to deal with it is West Ham's defence, because there's been another goal at Stamford Bridge, and Chelsea running riot over West Ham United in this first half, and a third goal comes their way. Noni Madueke with the third to extend Chelsea's lead further. It's Chelsea 3, West Ham United 0 at the Bridge. Just as it seems Chelsea are clicking at the right time of this season. And making easy work of that game this afternoon. Not only getting 3 points back to back for Chelsea, they're improving their goal difference significantly to try and help them with European football. Their goal difference +9 at the moment. They are a bit off competing with Newcastle. They're on +22. That would take a lot for them to get to that. Chelsea, but +9 does help them, especially against Manchester United, who are only a +1 goal difference. And that's why Chelsea are above United as it stands in the table, with United still to play this weekend, of course. Well, Villa's best chance of the half was surely that Ollie Watkins chance a moment or two ago, and he didn't even get a shot out of it. It was a really nice idea, and it broke really beautifully for Villa. A piece of individual class got them that opportunity, but didn't take the shot by Ollie Watkins, and I was really baffled as to why he didn't. Seems like it might just be this first half, might just peter out this way. You do have another 7 minutes to go though, so you never know, anything can change in that space of time. But I think this game does need a goal to spark it into life. Both teams need to take a few more risks. Sometimes the pass is just a bit too conservative, a bit too controlled. Just need to be more adventurous on the ball. Take a few more risks, because playing it around at the back is not going to get you victory. Here's Diego Carlos. Konsa. Closed down, back to Carlos, and now back to Olsen. This fella trying to entice Brighton on to press them so they can find the gaps in the midfield and in the attack, as John McGinn dispossessed there. Dingra bursts into life. Lovely work. Here's Pedro. Pedro now. Joel Veltman has a chance. Doesn't take the shot. Gross looking for the cross. Cuts it back. And tracking back was Douglas Luiz, who got it away, and then Lucadinha clears it behind for a goal kick off Facundo Buonanotte. But John McGinn loses the possession, and Dingra's eyes just light up. And he bursts into life as soon as he wins the ball back, gets Brighton going, really excites the Brighton attack, and they find a bit of tempo from somewhere there, Brighton, but couldn't get a clear scoring opportunity out of it. That's another thing I've seen so far in this game. The sides are kind of trying to get the perfect shooting position. Sometimes that defences are just so well drilled, they just don't have those perfect openings to find the shot. If you have a yard of space, just as I said, Veltman had a chance. You know, you find that yard of space, any sort of space at all, to get a shot off. You never know where it could go. Sometimes I'm just thinking in this game, the two sides just being a bit conservative in the final third as well, as that ball in behind from Villa. Headed away by Veltman. Easily, comfortably dealt with by the Brighton defence. Dunk. Across to Webster. It's really slow. And then that ball in behind from Adam Webster is too much for João Pedro to chase. But again, it's just too slow. And Roberto De Zerbi just telling the side to come back a bit. I think he's saying there's too much gap between the defence and midfield, and I would tend to agree with him, because every time Brighton get the ball at the back, they're just not playing it through the lines. They're trying to go for this magic over the top ball that 9 times out of 10 either isn't on, or it's just too high or too hard hit. It's just never accurately found. A Brighton player really in this game. A slip there from Leon Bailey gives Brighton the ball back. Buonanotte with a nice ball. Ball in behind there, and Welbeck threaded it through. Pedro on the chase. Olsen's gone down. Actually, it was Dinger that made the run in behind. Well, Welbeck did play the ball. It was a slip from Leon Bailey. It gave Brighton the opportunity. Buonanotte with a nice ball. Found Danny Welbeck in space, and then he just threaded it through for a Dinger, made the run in behind, but Diego Carlos was in the vicinity, but his keeper got there and grabbed the ball, and ahead of a Dinger. Kind of collided in the process there, the two players. Maybe a stray boot from a Dinger there, just catching Robin Olsen. And the Villa keeper just going to receive a bit of treatment here for the moment. And of course, I mentioned their third choice keeper, Joe Gauci, who's on the bench this afternoon. Of course, no Emi Martinez. And they are going to warm up that keeper, if he's needed, to come on at some point in this game. He's just getting his bib on and warming up at the sidelines there, Joe Gauci. As Robin Olsen continues to receive treatment then. Don't forget, at half-time, we'll be looking through all the other games from this weekend. Some huge results at either end of the table. We've already seen 6 Premier League games this weekend. 1 on Friday night and 5 yesterday. So we'll be talking through all of those games and those results and what they mean for the table and each team and their objectives this season. That's coming up at half-time here on LFS. Plus, we'll be talking about this first half from this game. I don't think there's very much to really talk about. Very little to separate the two teams in terms of in-play action in this first half so far, as Robin Olsen is back to his feet after receiving some treatment. And they will get the ball to kick away now. Robin Olsen. He seems to be okay to continue, at least for the moment he is. Torres. Down the left. Trying to find Lucadinha, but Lucadinha either had overrun it, or Pau Torres had just completely missed his fullback. Went out of play for a Brighton throw. Brighton have it at the back with Dunk. Verbruggen. High press from Villa. Ball won in the middle by McGinn. He went down under the challenge of Facundo Buonanotte in the air, and Villa get the free kick. for that. And we will have 5 added minutes at the end of this first half. So, certainly not curtailing this first half anytime soon, the referee. That free kick taken. And easily cleared by Simon Adingra, so it will be a Villa throw on the right-hand side. Pretty easily defended that one, Douglas Luiz, complaining about his side. But, I mean, he played the ball. The run on the right hand side for Villa. Down the line it comes. Consul will pick it up, flick it forward, looking for Cash, but cleared away by Igor. Up it comes for Carlos, brought down by McGinn. Back to Diego Carlos, that was nice. From McGinn under pressure. Pau Torres now. Douglas Luiz. Watkins coming deeper. Maybe that could change the game. Bailey now, Watkins on the spin. Here comes Ollie Watkins. Down the left-hand side the ball goes. And that's great tracking from Danny Welbeck to press the ball and forcing Villa backwards. And it gets a applause of appreciation from the Brighton fans in the stands. Douglas Luiz won the first header. It will bounce down for Pascal Gross to recover for Brighton as they play it around the back again. And really at this moment in time, neither side is laying a glove on the other, really. To call it a low tempo first half would be an understatement. That's why I said we need a goal to burst this into life. Give it a bit more jeopardy. Here's João Pedro. Ball into the box. It comes! And Adingra did try and stretch for it. He did get a connection to it, but a tame one at that. And Robin Olsen will gather. But that was a lovely idea by Brighton. It almost worked out. And almost came off there. Konsa. Villa again muddling it all up for themselves. Getting caught out in possession. But it's lovely turning, spinning away from his man. João Pedro from his marker. Just lifts it into the box at the back post. And Adingra was there. Just tried to tap it. Got the smallest of connections to it. And it did carry it to Robin Olsen. But just into the Villa keeper's hands and nothing more. For Brighton there. But more promise for the home side, who have looked the more likely of the two sides to take the lead in this first half, and probably deservedly so if they do get that lead. You couldn't argue with the fact that they've deserved it. Here's Adingra. Now that ball in behind, nice run by Pascal Gross, the keeper coming. Made a big save. Robin Olsen. Pascal Gross making that run in behind. Not a single Villa player on the same wavelength. Just a chip ball into the box, and Gross just takes the touch in front of Robin Olsen, tries to play it around him, and Olsen just follows him out, makes himself big and makes the big save. That's huge from the Villa keeper. But a lovely ball in behind by Adingra. Gross made the run in behind and no one was marking him. Completely unbeknownst to the Villa defence. As the corner comes in, headed away. Punched away by Robin Olsen, and there will be a free kick for Aston Villa in there in any case. But Brighton having a positive end to the half and looking certainly the more likely of the two sides to take the lead. Brighton looking the more likely. Not found the breakthrough yet. Villa really been lacklustre in this first half. Really lacklustre Aston Villa. The effects of Thursday, Sunday football, surely. Long ball over the top. Flicked on by Watkins. Headed down, and that's the end of the first half. The 5 minutes were up, and the referee wasted no time in blowing the half-time whistle. A first half where Brighton looked the more likely, have chances more than really proper goal-mouth action, and that is why it's goalless at the break. Brighton 0, Aston Villa 0.
Catch me if I fall. Messi, I'll put you in a grade 6 feet like Kenny.
You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god.
I got a switch in my head. I go from living to dead. You got me seeing all red. Now
Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half-time at the Amex Stadium. Brighton 0. Aston Villa 0 is the scoreline, and we've already seen 6 Premier League games this weekend. Some big games. It started on Friday night when two of the relegation battlers, one of the relegation battlers now, were battling off at Kenilworth Road, and Luton, who probably needed a victory, considering what happened against in the Nottingham Forest game the day after. They probably needed a victory, Luton, but a draw in the end was what they got out of Everton. They actually went behind in that game. Dominic Calvert-Lewin from the penalty spot, giving Everton the lead. Before 7 minutes later, Elijah Adebayo levelled for Luton. Luton had the more of the chances and the more of the shots in the game, but couldn't find that winner against Everton, which leaves them in the bottom 3 on 26 points. Yesterday, lunchtime, 5 games for you. It all started at lunchtime with the Arsenal taking on Bournemouth at the Emirates Stadium, and Arsenal knowing that if they had have won, a win would take them 4 points clear of Manchester City, with City having to play and having a game in hand, and still having to try and stretch that gap on Manchester City, and they did so for at least a while by winning by 3-0. A Bukayo Saka penalty followed by a Leandro Trossard goal and a Declan Rice goal late in the game sealed victory for the Gunners against Bournemouth. A 3-0 home victory for the Gunners, which takes their goal difference to plus 60 now, which at the moment is 6 better off than Manchester City at this moment in time. Neither Brentford or Fulham could improve their goal difference, as they saw a goalless draw at the G-Tech Community Stadium. Brentford well clear of relegation. They're 10 points clear of relegation. They're obviously safe in 16th, and Fulham in 13th on 44 points after their results yesterday. A very disappointing fixture, shall we say, out of that one. Not that we expected more, because there's nothing to play for either team. At Turf Moor, Burnley knew that if they had got 3 points after Luton dropping points, that they could be going above Luton in the table. That was not to be. They actually done the very opposite. They lost by convincing scoreline. Callum Wilson, Sean Longstaff and Bruno Guimaraes were the goal scorers for Newcastle at half-time, who led by 3-0. They missed a penalty in the second half, Newcastle, but made up for it by scoring just 3 minutes later. Alexander Isak, who had this penalty saved, did beat the keeper just a few minutes after and scored Newcastle's fourth. Darragh O'Shea got a consolation in the final 4 minutes of the game. And that was all what was to be for Burnley in that one, 4-1, and they are rocketing towards relegation now. Burnley. Well, the team that's already relegated, Sheffield United. Nottingham Forest knew that with Luton dropping points on the Friday night, if they'd have won, they would have a 3-point gap over Luton on the same number of games, and that they did. It actually started pretty badly for Nottingham Forest. They went behind. Ben Burton-Diaz from the penalty spot, putting Sheffield United in front. Callum Hudson-Odoi then levelled before half-time, before Ryan Yates and Hudson-Odoi again, with 2 goals in quick succession, secured victory for Nottingham Forest on the road at Bramall Lane, which puts Forest 3 points ahead of Luton, outside of the bottom 3 with just 2 games left to play. And the final game yesterday, Manchester City were 4 points behind Arsenal, but quickly and very convincingly made it just a 1-point gap once again with a huge win over Wolves at home. 5-1 victors against Gary O'Neill's side. Erling Haaland, 4 goals from him, 2 penalties and 2 open play goals really sealed the points. Hee-Chan Hwang scored a consolation at 3-1 before Julian Alvarez added a 5th to Manchester City's scoreline to give them a convincing 3 points against Wolverhampton Wanderers. So, that is where we stand. The table is quite interesting as well at this moment in time, because the title race will ring on into the final 2 games of the season, and City, heading into the final game, could lead the way if they beat Spurs, which is their game in hand. This is where we stand then. Arsenal on 36 games, 83 points. Manchester City, 35 games on 82 points. Just a point behind Arsenal, but as I said, that game in hand could be crucial. Remember, they probably need to win that, because if they draw Manchester City, they will still be behind Arsenal on goal difference. So a win is a must in that game in hand to take a clear lead in the title race for Manchester City. Liverpool really have nothing left to play for, but they want to leave their season on a high with Jurgen Klopp farewell tour coming to a close with 3 games left to go for the Reds, and they would love to make it 9 points from out of a possible 9 for Jurgen Klopp's farewell. They start with Tottenham later this afternoon. They're on 75 points, Liverpool, after 35 games. They've got Champions League football next season for their new manager Arne Slot coming in. No title for them this season. Aston Villa, we're currently watching, at this moment in time. That is not the live table, is it? It is not the live table. At the start of play this afternoon, 67 points Villa were on. And then Spurs in 5th on 60. That's where we stand then. At the top half. Down to the bottom half. To where we stand. That's way too far. There we go. We come in absolutely way down the table there. At bottom half, Sheffield United already relegated. Burnley on the verge of relegation, 5 points drift to safety with just 2 games left to play for. That means there's only 6 points left to play for, which means that when we get underway next weekend, we'll see who plays first, which is Burnley. They play first. Forest don't play the next Saturday evening. Burnley play next Saturday afternoon away at Tottenham, and Burnley lose that game against Tottenham, they will already be relegated by the time Forest kick a ball against Chelsea on the 5:30 kickoff. Now, Burnley win that game, they will keep themselves in with a shout heading into the final day, but it looks unlikely because they do play Nottingham Forest on the final day. What a comeback that would be for Burnley if they could win at Tottenham and get a result out of Forest on the final day to stay in the division. That would do the business for them if they could, if Forest, they are not going to drop points to Chelsea. Luton, well, they'll need to wait a bit longer to be relegated. If they fail to beat West Ham at 3 o'clock next Saturday, if they draw that game, Forest will then have the chance to relegate both Luton and Burnley before we head into the final day and secure safety Forest if they can beat Chelsea at home. They beat a London team last season to secure safety. They could do it again this season to secure safety Forest. next weekend. Right, that is where we stand. At half-time in our two games, Brighton 0, Aston Villa 0. Pretty boring. And need to up the tempo in the second half. They need a goal. And in the first half, Chelsea making easy work of it. Cole Palmer, Conor Gallagher, and Noni Madueke all on the score sheet for Chelsea, who lead West Ham by 3-0. Chelsea running rings around their London rivals at this moment in time. And Chelsea in with a shout of European football. They're in 7th at the moment, and a chance to capture European football under Mauricio Pochettino with his first season in charge. Still to come this weekend, Liverpool take on Tottenham. That's tomorrow, 4:30. Today, 4:30 here on LFS. Liverpool take on Tottenham at Anfield in Jurgen Klopp's penultimate home game in charge of the Reds. And Crystal Palace welcome Manchester United to Sellers Park tomorrow. Manchester United looking to keep their push for Europa League football on track. That's tomorrow, 8 o'clock on Bank Holiday Monday. Tomorrow at 8. Right, second half from the Amex Stadium between Brighton and Aston Villa is on the way next. Do stay with us.
Catch me if I fall. I'll put you in a grade 16 like Kenny.
You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. You gon' die if you try. You just might get a little bit of trouble, side, you will never see me coming. You gon' die if you try. You just might get a little bit of trouble. KNIFE right in your side. You will never see me.
I got a switch in my head. I go from living to dead. You got me seeing all red.
Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half-time, it is Brighton 0, Aston Villa 0 at the Amex Stadium. The second half on the way in just a moment. Don't forget another Premier League game coming up for you this afternoon at 4:30 from Anfield is Liverpool taking on Tottenham. Liverpool already secured Champions League football for next season. Tottenham with a slim to none chance at this moment, but if they beat Liverpool and Aston Villa are beaten here, it's maybe just not out of the question, but a very slim chance for Tottenham to achieve Champions League football next season. That is a 4:30 kickoff. So the second half coming up from the Amex in a moment or two. Just to confirm for you, we mentioned the Scottish Premiership game earlier this afternoon between Rangers and Kilmarnock in that title race. Rangers did see out victory in that one. Tom Lawrence and John Souttar adding to a 2-1 lead to make it 4-1 for Rangers in the end. 40 shots for Rangers in that one in total, 15 of them on target, which brings them back within 3 points of Celtic, which means Celtic can all but wrap up the title next weekend when they play Rangers at Celtic Park in the Old Firm Derby. We'll have that live 12:30 next Saturday here on LFS. Exciting indeed. Right, the teams actually just arriving at Anfield at the moment. Just seeing the aerial shot of the Tottenham team arriving around Anfield as the crowds are gathering to welcome the home team to the stadium. And half-time in this game between Brighton and Aston Villa is a lot to improve on for both teams from that first half. They really lacked intensity, and the second half is coming up. Welcome back then to Premier League Live this Sunday here in LFS. Exciting Sunday of football, of course. Here in LFS, we love our double headers on a Sunday. The second half underway at Stamford Bridge as well, between Chelsea and West Ham. We'll keep it up with the second half in that one as the players just returning to the field here at the Amex Stadium, taking their time. And a lot of improvements needed from both of these teams in the final third. Brighton looked the more threatening, and I was very disappointed with Aston Villa from that first half. They really looked lacking any sort of energy or kind of quality in the final third in that first half. They really struggled in attacking areas, Aston Villa. That's why they only had one shot in the whole first half. But improvements to come, surely, from Unai Emery's side as the second half ready to get underway. Everyone's back out on the pitch, and the referee gets us going once more here at the Amex between Brighton and Aston Villa. Villa on the verge of Champions League qualification. But Brighton can put a delay to their party if they do the business on them this weekend. There will be a free kick actually here. An early free kick for Brighton. Looks like Lucadinha handled the ball, so it will be a free kick. It was going for a corner anyway. Yeah, it is a handball from Lucadinha. It's only a free kick. It's outside the box. A goal to tell you about from Stamford Bridge. We'll get there in a moment. As Brighton ready to take this free kick. They're having a chat between themselves there. Dunk, Webster and Gross to see what their tactic is for this set piece. And this would be the perfect start to the second half for Brighton if they could find the net from this position. Gross to take this free kick. High on the right hand side. 7 Brighton bodies in the box. Gross with the delivery. Headed away by Carlos. Recycled though. Here's a Dingra. Can't find the gaps. Closed down well there as Veltman has to retreat. Around the corner it comes to Igor. Now out to the left hand side. Here's a Dingra now. Gonna come infield. Plays it across the box. Welbeck was there to try and meet it, but Lucadinha got there ahead of him to clear it away. An energetic start to the second half from Brighton. There's a bundling there. I think that'll be a Villa free kick actually. Or a throw in just maybe. Pedro. He went down. The referee said no foul. João Pedro had stayed down. Let's get to that goal at Stamford Bridge then for you. Another goal. And West Ham, you think, half time, they'll regroup and they'll figure out how to work this out defensively. And clearly not. Chelsea 4-0 up now. They've extended their lead with a matter of moments of the second half getting underway. And their fourth goal scorer of the afternoon, Nicholas Jackson. 4 different goal scorers for Chelsea. It's Chelsea 4, West Ham United 0 at Stamford Bridge. Another comfortable result for Chelsea in the end in a London derby. After they were absolutely thrashed by Arsenal 5-0. They did win against Spurs at the weekend 2-0. Or in midweek, sorry, against Spurs. And now making easy work of the claret and blue of West Ham United. The claret and blue of Aston Villa aren't particularly sparking up here either against the team in blue. At the moment, neither side have really been able to test either goalkeeper quite profusely so far, and that's why we're at this point in a goalless game. Said we needed a goal to really change the dynamics, change the kind of the jeopardy of this game. So at the moment, both sides pretty comfortable in this moment. Nothing really to unsettle either team at this moment so far. Here's Pau Torres. Just seems a bit slow at times when the two teams have it at the back. They're just waiting for something to happen, but there's no movement, very little movement in the final third, and they're expecting miracles to happen. They need to move, they need to switch positions, they need to keep testing the opposition. As Ollie Watkins did that there, came deep for the ball, turned on the ball and made the run, and was caught by Pascal Gross, and he does get a free kick out of it. That's exactly what I mean. Bit of movement, moving players out of position and making them commit tackles, and you win a free kick, get yourself up the pitch. That's a yellow card as well for Pascal Gross for that challenge, deemed to be a cynical foul. So Pascal Gross gets the first yellow card of the day, the 7th of the season. Not that that matters at this stage, but it's just an interesting stat. McGinn looking to take the free kick. The referee's just blown the whistle as he did take it. So they will get it again, and they will have another chance at it, Aston Villa here. It was Veltman that went to the ground. Under a push from Leon Bailey. It's not much of a push. There's not much in that really at all. Went down a bit easily there, Joel Veltman. But Villa will get another chance to take this free kick then. John McGinn over it. Their captain. Left-footed delivery into the box it comes. Over the head of Diego Carlos and cleared away by Igor. Naya Dingra breaks down the left. Blocked off by Cash. Back it comes as Villa get it back from Brighton. Douglas Luiz. McGinn. With a long diagonal. To find Matty Cash. Takes it down on the right. Lays it off to Konsa. Konsa has to go backwards though. There's a lot of space out there for Matty Cash. He didn't make the run beyond. He decided to play it backwards. He gets it again, Cash. Links it up with Konsa. Nice 1-2. Here's Cash on the right flank. He's got bodies in the box. Cash with a cross. Blocked by Webster there. Will be recovered. Dunk. Fire it long. Dina up for the header, but didn't win that. And it runs out of play for a Brighton throw. Buonanotte picks it up in the middle. Hounded by Ollie Watkins. Challenged by McGinn, but the referee said it was a foul as he was playing advantage there for Buonanotte, so he pulls it back for the free kick. For the Ollie Watkins challenge. Adingra. Back to Igor. Across to Dunk. Now Webster. Webster again. Trying to make that run down the right. Find a space, but pass straight to Leon Bailey. In Villa colours and clears it away. Dina. On the spin was Watkins, but good strength there from Adam Webster to win it back. Gilmore. This is the type of thing I mean. It's slow. Their build-up play to allow Villa to get into shape, but the exact opposite way. Pedro. Oh, that's lovely skill from João Pedro. Bricks into space. Can't find the pass off. Does win it back though. Then it's stolen away, and Bailey is absolutely hung out to dry there. Taken out by Billy Gilmore, and it will be a free kick to Aston Villa. But fabulous skill there from João Pedro. Beat past McGinn. Absolutely nutmegs Matty Cash, and then Welbeck tried to win it back. Then Villa steal it away from him. Bailey picks it up, and he's absolutely taken out by Billy Gilmore. And does get the free kick for Aston Villa, but it's really where the game's come to life. That individual brilliance from one player in both teams has really sparked their attacks into life. It's not been more of a team attack from either team. It's more or less just been individual moments that's got us those attacking chances so far. That's what I meant earlier on when I was talking about them being very well matched. Both teams kind of cancelling each other out, really. The way they've been set up, both teams just really solid defensively against the opposition. Here's Carlos. Ball over the top. Diaby down the right-hand side. Took it in his stride, did Moussa Diaby. First real break down the right flank for him. Up against Dunk. Diaby round the corner, finds Cash. Cash with a byline cut back. Took a deflection and found its way to Dunk. And cleared away by Igor up the pitch. Pedro held on to. The referee says no. And Villa have it back. Here's Torres. Out to Matty Cash on the right. Has space now. Plays it forward for Diaby in the box. Diaby cuts it back and no one there to meet it in the box. But better from Villa. It's Brighton a bit flustered. Diego Carlos plays it forward. Cleared away. Douglas Luiz will recover it. On the spin. Gets away from Gilmore. Plays it at Watkins. Now Bailey. Caught in possession there, Leon Bailey. And Buonanotte can carry it away for Brighton. Adingra. Back to Igor. Aston Villa showing a bit more intensity there. And Matty Cash, a key component to it. One or two times they just find that ball out to the right hand side. And he's been in space, Matty Cash. And Brighton just not able to deal with it at the moment. Creating an overload on that right flank. The ball into the box there from Bailey. Douglas Luiz recycles it. McGinn. Digne. Now Bailey. Luiz. I'm caught in possession, but he does keep it alive. Chance down the left, and Villa will get a corner out of Leon Bailey there. It's better from Aston Villa. Growing in confidence and certainly moving the ball a lot quicker than they were in that first half. Starting to reap the benefits and the rewards of it. So a corner on the left-hand side. Their first of the game for Aston Villa, actually. Brighton had 3 corners up to this point. Villa without one. This is their first of the afternoon. Left-hand side. Right-footed in, swinging corner. Up it comes. Konsa was closest, but Brighton clear it away. Here's Cash. Has hit one from distance. Not too far away. It just curled away from the goal at the last second. But he saw the space, saw the keeper's positioning and thought, why not? And it's not a bad decision. It wasn't too far away there from Matty Cash. Just wide of the left post. Narrowly wide that by a yard or two. But it just just curled away from goal at the last second, which took it off target. As Brighton given away again. McGinn now finds Bailey. Through the lines comes Watkins. Watkins has space. Tries to eke his way through, but closed down by Veltman. Veltman nowhere to go and has to hit it off. Luca Digne does win the throw-in for Brighton, but I'm sure Unai Emery will be much more impressed with how his side are attacking now in this second half compared to that first half. With only 10% of the attacking play in Villa's defensive third at this moment, so certainly you can see Villa on the front foot and Brighton struggling to get on the front foot in these last 10 minutes or so. But here they are, and Pedro played it through for Adingra. Adingra now has space. Chance for Brighton here. Across to Gilmore. Gilmore tried to force it into the box there, cleared away. We'll get it back again though, Billy Gilmore. And Igor's ball in behind is all the way through to Robin Olsen, which takes the pace out of this last moment or two. So Aston Villa looking the more comfortable team in the last 5-10 minutes. And that is why it looks like Roberto De Zerbi's going to make changes. But we'll get those in a moment. Here's John McGinn with his marauding run up the middle. Beats off a few. Plays it down the left. Bailey tried to cut inside first time. Blocked by Veltman. And out for a throw-in. We've not seen many of those this afternoon for John McGinn. Getting on the ball and just driving the ball forward. Getting Villa up the pitch with those marauding runs. Not seen much of that this afternoon from the Villa captain. That's another sign that Villa are getting more confident and finding more joy on the ball. Here's Cash. Down the right it comes. Diaby. Back to Cash. Still wide on that right. Igor trying to track him off. Back to Diaby. And now Konsa. Konsa caught between two minds whether to go infield or out wide. He did come back infield. Here's McGinn. McGinn. Across to Pau Torres. Caught in possession was Torres. Couldn't win it back. McGinn does so. Torres again caught in possession. Loses the ball. Pedro now finds Adingra. Space for Brighton to break here. Simon Adingra chips it into the box. Headed away by Lucadinha. Cash round the corner, but couldn't keep it alive. Now a chance for Brighton again. Adingra down the left-hand side. Running at Esri Konsa. Adingra's ball into the box. And Torres has to slide to put it out for the corner. But positive there from Brighton. And Adingra at the heart of their positive play once more. And Pau Torres, just his misplaced touches, heavy touches on the ball from Torres, just completely put Villa under massive pressure. Out of nowhere, really poor from him. But he does recover it out for a corner to deny Villa a goal, or Brighton a goal scoring chance. But they do have a corner. On the right hand side. A swinging one. Fizzed across the box. Dunk up. Heads it off a Villa head, but it will be a free kick to Aston Villa, which Roberto De Zerbi is not quite happy with, as he makes his views known. And they're going to make a change here, Brighton, as I mentioned. So Facundo Buonanotte is going to make way. The Argentinian. And he's going to be coming off and being replaced by Julio Enciso. So Enciso on and Buonanotte off for Brighton. And Julio Enciso has been bogged down with injury this season. Kept him out the majority of the campaign. From late August till the start of March, he was out injured. So he's been missed for a long time. Made his first appearance at the end of February, back from injury. He got injured in that 4-1 win against Wolves earlier in the season when he got 2 assists in that game. His only goal contributions of the campaign so far, because he has been out for such a long time. Igor. Down the line it comes. Chested by Welbeck. Welbeck on the spin. Finds Adingra. That's lovely from Brighton. Adingra. Ball in behind. Here's João Pedro. One-on-one with the keeper. Pedro! Robin Olsen with a big save. And brought down in the box was Douglas Luiz. It will be a free kick to Villa. But lovely interchange of play. 1-2 touch football from Brighton there. Lovely from Welbeck, just steps away from the centre, takes it out wide, turns and spins, lays it off to Adingra, and Adingra with a beautifully weighted ball in behind for João Pedro. Pedro beating off Pau Torres, holding him off with his physicality and getting the shot off, but straight off Robin Olsen, who made himself big, made some big saves in this game for Aston Villa, did the keeper, and he's denied Brighton once again. That was really nice play, linking up the attacking players there for Brighton. Both teams sparking into life as Douglas Luiz trailed down there, and a yellow card has come out for the player that committed that foul, and that was, I have no idea who. It was Simon Adingra. So Adingra joining Pascal Gross in the book. And his 3rd of the season. The Ivory Coast international. And John McGinn to take this free kick for Villa. Brighton playing a very high line. So McGinn, left-footed, right across. Didn't even get into the box. Headed away. And Cecil with a follow-up header. Back it comes to McGinn. He'll fire it forward again. Wide on the left-hand side. Looking for Luca Digne, but run out of room. And actually, Brighton have got a free kick here as well. For a foul off the ball. So he's given a free kick to Brighton. The referee. Both sides showing promise to try and win this game, and they've 26 minutes to do so. Time is not running out just yet. There's still more than enough time. Still have to say that Brighton looked the more likely. Villa have been more energetic in the second half, but still not showing much output. Only one shot in the second half, none on target. And all that matters is when you get that shot on target, that it goes back into the back of the net, being accurate. Here's Adingra, breaking down the left, actually tangled himself up there. And Ezri Konsa allowed to get back into it as Adingra battled back for the ball, but Konsa will get the free kick. Or no, he's actually not getting a free kick. He's had to play on. And they will let that run for a goal kick there, Aston Villa. Wow. This game's a lot more energetic, a lot more intense in the second period. 20 minutes in and we've already shown a lot of intensity. A lot more intensity than we did in the whole of the first half in this fixture. Still nothing to show for it though. Still no goal. Deadlock maintained for the moment. Here's Watkins. Now finds Bailey. Bailey with a lovely quick feet to evade the challenges. Watkins. Now Digne. Watkins on the left. Here's Douglas Luiz. To Pau Torres. Across to Carlos. Now Konsa. Down the right it comes. Now to Cash. Nowhere to go. Turns back to Ezri Konsa. Villa try and go down the left now. With Digne. Torres. Back to Digne. Brighton sitting deep in their shape. Villa come down the left-hand side here. Cross in by Luiz, but easy catch for Bart Verbruggen there in the Brighton goal as they try and spring them on the attack. Adingra's ball in behind and Cecil making the run. Beaten to it by his man. Julian Enciso, but over the bar it goes. Good chance and Adingra's ball in behind. Beautiful again. Catches out the retreating John McGinn, who's absolutely beaten to it. And Cecil then chops onto his right, gets past Diego Carlos, and all he has to do is find the net. Olsen backtracking, and he just strikes it first time, Julio Enciso, and over the bar it goes. But nice opportunity on the break there from Brighton. McGinn retrieves it for Villa. And a quarter of this game to go. Brighton 0, Aston Villa 0. That's a weird ball and very poor delivery of that pass. As Brighton intercept once again. Here's Pascal Gross. Pedro. Now Enciso with another shot blocked. Now Adingra will pick up the loose ball. Feeds it round the corner. Igor on the overlap. Igor with a cross. Flicked into the front post by Pascal Gross. And it's been coming. Brighton have been pushing and probing and having chances galore in front of goal in these last 5 minutes or so. And the breakthrough finally found. Pascal Gross with the finish. Cued at the front post. Beats the keeper. And it's... Is he onside? That is so tight. Oh, it looks level to me. He might just be onside here. They are checking VAR. Michael Oliver, the VAR, having a check from the side-on angle. It looks level to me. But this is going to be a tight one. Very tight indeed it will be. Here we go. The tightest of tight offsides this would be. It was really good from Simon Adingra in the build-up, just to feed the ball, know that Igor's going to be on the overlap, and then Igor with a cross flicked on by Pascal Gross. Whether he was offside is the big question here. They're drawing the lines at this moment in time. VAR. Michael Oliver. This could be a huge moment in this game. Michael Oliver helped out by Dan Cook, the assistant VAR this afternoon. And we are just awaiting this decision then. And it's going to be tight. This is a huge one. It's the right knee of Pascal Gross that is the furthest body part forward for him. And Igor's left boot. Where the ball is, whether the ball is ahead or behind Pascal Gross, is what is important here. Because of course it's a cross. And if Igor is ahead, if Pascal Gross is ahead of the ball, he is offside. If he's level with the ball, they give the benefit of the doubt. If he's behind the ball, he's onside. So as long as he's not ahead of the ball, he should be onside and fine. But the decision is, he is offside. He's just a yard ahead of the ball with his knee playing him offside. So the decision is no goal. And VAR have restored parity here at the Amex. The Brighton fans confused. And we're seeing that some of the fans actually have some pictures there of the match on their phones and showing how tight it is for the offside. Well, unless it's something weird that they're looking at, I'm guessing that's what's on that phone screen. I would hope so. No goal then. Just as we thought we'd find the breakthrough, VAR comes and makes it happy again. No goal. But right, the correct decision crucially. Right, while we were in that VAR check, team news from Anfield has dropped. The two teams ready to face off for a revenge of that game at the end of September at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. A controversial one indeed. Here are the teams in full. The Liverpool team is as follows. Alisson in goal, Alexander-Arnold, Kwanzaa, Van Dijk the captain, and Robertson in defence. Van Dijk was of course a questionable doubt for the game with a late assessment ahead of this fixture. He starts. Harvey Elliott, Wataru Endo and Alexis McAllister all play in midfield, with Cody Gakpo, Luis Diaz and Mo Salah leading the attacking line for Liverpool. For Spurs, Vicario is in goal, Porro, Romero, Van de Ven and Royale in defence, Sarr, Bentancur and Bissouma in midfield, Kulusevski, Johnson and Son up front for Tottenham. So one or two changes there from Spurs. In that one, team news dropped, and the kickoff at Anfield is in around about 55 minutes time. You can watch it here live on LFS 4:30. Substitutions incoming then. John Duran's coming on. He's going to replace Moussa Diaby for Aston Villa. Just got one change they're going to make at this moment. So another fresh legs in the attack for Unai Emery's team. There's the bellies out. Look at that. The belly is out. I mean, maybe he's too warm. Wow. Goodness me. That's what we're going to enjoy about the Euros in the summer. The heat and the topless fat bellies. Lovely. True thing. A true footballing moment, that. A true footballing image. Aston Villa have a through it on the left hand side. Around 16.5 minutes to go, and still, despite Brighton finding the back of the net, there has been no breakthrough. And one thing for Aston Villa, they cannot complain if they lose this game. They've had 1 shot on target in 74 minutes of football. 2 shots in total. Their XG at this moment, Aston Villa, is 0.06. 6% chance of finding a goal in this game from the chances they've created. That is how bad their attack has been in this game. Well, they've whipped the ball in there. It's headed away. But Brighton have looked the better side. I mean, Brighton's XG is 1.25. So Brighton are really creating a lot more of the chances and a lot better quality chances than Villa. Villa have been better in the second half, but minimally better, really. They've not been, in the grand scheme of things, the better side. Brighton arguably have been the better team for the whole 75 minutes up to this point. Still time to change that, though. Here's Matty Cash, eyeing up a long throw on the right-hand side here for Villa then. A chance to test this Brighton defence. Cash with a long throw. Into the box it comes. Flicked on by Diego Carlos, but flicked a bit too far. And behind it goes for a goal kick to Brighton for the moment. As we enter the last 15 minutes here at the Amex Stadium. And we remain as we started. Brighton 0, Aston Villa 0. And no breakthrough coming. Brighton did find the back of the net, but VAR ruling that one out for an offside against the eventual goal scorer, Pascal Gross, who thought he'd broken the deadlock here this afternoon. As it stands then, in the race for top 4, in that Champions League spot, the only Champions League spot left up for grabs this season, Aston Villa do still lead Spurs by 8 points. Before Spurs head to Anfield later this afternoon. Let's just show you that live table then, if we can get the live table up. And we can. So it'll be Villa's 8th draw of the season if they do see it out. Aston Villa 68 points, 8 points ahead of Spurs. Spurs close the gap. They win the game they haven't played and their game in hand. They'll be within 2 points of Villa. Still with Villa in their own hands for this race for top 4. Still goalless though. We'll see if Spurs can capitalise upon drop points, if Villa do drop points when they play Liverpool in around about an hour's time. Here's Adingra. Looking for the cross into the box. Blocked by Ezri Konsa. It will be a corner to Brighton. Certainly a good opportunity for the home side, who arguably have been the better side of the two over the whole course of this game up to this point. Cross comes in, it is headed away, and Lucadinha involved in that. Here come Villa down the left. Chipped into the box it comes. And Matty Cash with the pressure on Adingra, making his presence felt and forcing Adingra to put it out for the corner, to Aston Villa. So 12.5 minutes. The clock is against these two teams to find a winning goal. 3 points that would be huge for Aston Villa, in all but solidifying their place in next season's UEFA Champions League. They have this corner. They've scored quite a few from corners this season, Aston Villa. And their set-piece coach shouting orders onto the pitch for his team. So corner on the right-hand side, winning swinger. Begin to take it left-footed, tries to sneak it around the front post, but easily blocked by Villa, or Brighton. The chance! Goal, but the flag's up against John McGinn. Brighton did clear their lines, and then Villa snuck to win it back, and then McGinn did take the shot, but the flag went straight up from the assistant on that right-hand side, and probably rightfully so. Yes. Ooh, it's tight though. That's tight, but I think he's just offside there, John McGinn. Which is ruling this one out, but VAR checking it. Of course. That looks pretty definitive to me. John McGinn is about a half a yard offside, with his left boot playing him off. Yeah. But it's very tight, and Michael Oliver has another close VAR call to make. And I would not like to be the referee if this does be given as a goal. I wouldn't want to be the referee making that decision, or confirming that decision to the crowd, seeing that Brighton have already had a goal disallowed. But it has been checked, and it has been ratified. No goal. John McGinn was just offside when he did take that shot. So both sides have found the back of the net, and both have been disallowed for offsides. Just to this point, seems like there might not be a goal here this afternoon, but here comes Adingra. Adingra! Shot straight at Robin Olsen. Comfortable enough save for the Villa keeper. Simon Adingra's been the most threatening player out there all afternoon for both teams. From all 22 players. And he's really kept Brighton's attacks flowing all the way through this second half. Even in the first half, he was probably the only player on the pitch really getting any sort of space in the final third and creating any sort of chances. We have another goal at Stamford Bridge, and West Ham looked like they were clinging on and maybe just not making their defensive scoreline any worse. Well, it's just got worse. It is Chelsea 5, West Ham United 0. Nicholas Jackson with his second of the afternoon to extend Chelsea's lead even further. 5-0. Cash trying to run in behind. Away by Verbruggen. Watkins on the right hand side now. Has to come back in field. John McGinn, now Concert. And that's a poor ball there by Douglas Luiz to give it away. One back though, only momentarily, as Brighton try and get it up the pitch. Nice spread of the ball. Here's a chance to run. Here's Gross down the right hand side. Back to Webster. Webster in space now. Webster chips it out to the left-hand side. Finds Adingra. Adingra on the edge of the box. Trying to eke in a yard of space. Can't find it. Finds Veltman. Or Gross, sorry, the shot. And it's cleared out for a throw-in. As we're into the last 10 minutes here at the Amex. Brighton 0, Villa 0. One goal would surely be a winner at this late stage. Dunk. Now Enciso finds Adingra. Enciso on the overlap. Keeps the Villa attack, or the Brighton attack going. Enciso with the ball in, and the header is just wide from Danny Welbeck. Popped up at the back post, tried to head it across goal, and narrowly wide for Danny Welbeck. Used his height to his advantage. Popped up at the back post ahead of Pau Torres. And just looked to beat the Villa keeper, and just agonisingly wide of that left post for the Brighton centre forward. But another good opportunity gone a begging for Brighton. There's a Villa player taken down there. That was John Duran, who was fouled, so a Villa free kick incoming. Rob Jones just sorting out the details of that free kick then, making sure all is right, and John McGinn ready to take it. This time it will be a right-footed one, it seems. Actually, McGinn's not taking it. It's Douglas Luiz that's going to take it. McGinn stepped away, so Luiz to step up. Has his hand in the air. Right-footed, whipped into the box, and Verbruggen measured that perfectly as he punches it away. McGinn now to recover. Sweeps it forward, but under a bit of pressure there. Could really sweep it out of play there, John McGinn. And Brighton will get the throw in on the left-hand side. What a bit of pressure can do to a player there. I have to say, these two managers, I mean, I've said it before with other managers, the likes of a Jurgen Klopp or a Pep Guardiola or a Mikel Arteta. We need manager cam. If we can get manager cam, just keep them in the corner of the screen. It would just be perfect to watch the managers. They're so animated nowadays. Denker went down. Penalty. John McGinn incensed. The Villa players disagreeing with the referee completely. But Denker went down under a challenge from Esri Konsa, I believe. Denker trying to turn him inside out. First time ball from João Pedro. And Denker clipped that by Esri Konsa. I don't think this will get overturned. Yeah. Ooh, it's quite soft. It looks soft to me. But smart from Denker. And the referee's given it. And I don't think there's much of a clear and obvious error there for VAR to overturn this. And I think the penalty will stand. So Simon Adingra, who's been a marker of excellence all afternoon for Brighton. He's been a real bright spark. He's been a burst of energy in that Brighton defence. Or Brighton attack. Brighton defence. Against the Villa defence. And he's been a problem and a thorn in their side once again. The penalty decision stands. So VAR not intervening and changing the decision. And the penalty is going to stand. And João Pedro is going to step up to take it. A huge moment for Brighton. Aston Villa clinging on to a goalless draw at this moment in time. João Pedro kisses the ball as he puts it on the spot. Makes a couple of steps back. Up against Robin Olsen. Whistle goes from the referee. João Pedro. Here we go. Pedro to step up. Delaying as much as possible. Pedro. Saved! But the follow-up is in! João Pedro missed the penalty, but it bounces off Robin Olsen up into the air, and João Pedro heads it past the Villa keeper to give Brighton the lead. Keeper did all he probably could there, but unluckily it bounces the wrong way for him, and it's just not enough to keep it out. Brighton lead, deservedly so surely, but cruel for Robin Olsen, who made the save. But from that save, the ball bounces up into the air, and João Pedro, the first to react, to head it into the back of the nets. Brighton 1, Aston Villa 0. And tonight, denying Brighton a win would be criminal. They have been excellent. They have been unstoppable at times. They have been fantastic in this final third and shown much more desire and belief and quality in trying to win this game than Aston Villa all the way through. Whether it's a want to win or a will to win that was lacking from Villa, or whether it was just lacking energy from an intense European game on Thursday night, it looks like it's going to be Brighton's afternoon on the south coast. And their first home victory in 7 games against Aston Villa, it seems. And Villa's unbeaten run against Brighton, dating back to the end of 2021, is coming to an end, it seems, as well. Brighton 1, Aston Villa 0. And the changes are going to be made here from Brighton, so they're going to make double changes. But it's all eyes on Tottenham, it's going to be now. Villa dropping points. Even more initiative for Spurs to try and win that game against Liverpool this afternoon. Or can Villa scrape a result? Rather, probably an undeserved result in the dying embers. And as it stands, Villa will still be 7 points ahead of Spurs, but with Spurs yet to play this weekend and with a game in hand. And a chance for Spurs with those 2 games to close the gap from 7 points to just 1 point heading into the final 2 weekends of the season. And Tottenham, after this, Burnley and Sheffield United are their oppositions in their other 2 Premier League games. Villa have Liverpool and Crystal Palace to face in their final 2 league games of the season. And Villa are going to make changes as well in these dying moments. So Konsa's coming off. He's going to be replaced by Callum Chambers. And the second substitution is going to be Luca Digne. He's going to come off and he's going to be replaced by Alex Moreno for Villa. So Digne and Konsa off and Moreno and Chambers on, swapping in the fullbacks there from Aston Villa. And also for Brighton, those changes made just a moment or 2 ago. Danny Welbeck and Billy Gilmore came off. They've been replaced by Carlos Baleba and Jakob Moder. Brighton want to make another change. I don't know if they're going to make that yet. They might be. They're not yet. Free kick taken. 90 minutes surpassed, and we will have 9 added minutes. More than enough time for anything else to happen. There's been a lot of changes, a lot of energy used in this second half mostly. 9 minutes for Brighton to hold on to this lead. 9 minutes for Villa to try and rescue a point. Although here come Brighton to try and add to that lead. Adingra finds Enciso, works his round away around the box. Adingra, another one goes down. Pedro this time went down. Referee's just given a corner. Gervier will have a look. I think it's a penalty. Enciso just... ball falls. Then Pedro... I don't know. Yeah. There's not really much in that. And the penalty's been cleared. So no penalty. Corner just here for Brighton. And the referee's just having a chat with a few of the Villa players of whatever's happened. Roberto De Zerbi received a yellow card as well at some point in the last 5 minutes. Whatever that was for. Probably arguing with the referee or getting too animated. Who knows? Whatever it is, he's been booked. The Brighton manager. Corner to be taken for Brighton on the left-hand side. In swinging one it will be. Taken short. Pedro, sorry, in no hurry. Adingra. Gross tried to flick it on for Adingra, but cleared away, and then the foul on Leon Bailey there will give Villa the free kick. Substitution incoming then for Brighton. Simon Adingra, who's won the penalty and has been an absolute credit to Brighton this afternoon. He's been their best player all afternoon, no doubts about it. And he is coming off and he's going to be replaced here by Valentin Barco, I believe. Doesn't look like Barco. It is. Valentin Barco is coming on. So Barco on for Adingra. Cash down the right, tried to find Bailey, but overhit the ball and run out of play for a Brighton throw. Final score from Stamford Bridge. It is finished. Chelsea 5, West Ham United 0. A convincing 5-0 victory for Chelsea to take them up to 7th ahead of Manchester United, who play tomorrow. United, of course, level on points with Chelsea, but Chelsea's goal difference much the superior. Exciting for the race for European football. Here's Watkins. Spreads it wide on the left. Chambers. Or Moreno, sorry. Wrong fullback. Moreno does Put the cross in. Did take a deflection off Veltman. Cleared away though. At the back by Baleba. Bouncing around, and it didn't keep in play there from Villa. Out of play for a throw in to Brighton. You're doing a good job at holding on here late on. I mean, not much holding on to do because Villa have created absolutely nothing this afternoon, really, in attacking areas. Don't forget, Liverpool-Tottenham on the way after this game. 4:30 kickoff from Anfield as Liverpool take on Spurs. Liverpool already secured Champions League football, but Spurs maybe one last hope if they can win at Anfield and close that gap to Aston Villa. Maybe there is just one last push for Champions League football. That's at 4:30. Roberto Zerbi's side on course, almost around 4.5 minutes away from their first Premier League win in just under 2 months. It's been a tough spell. Defeat to Liverpool, Brentford draw, defeat to Arsenal, draw against Burnley, Man City defeat, and a Bournemouth defeat in their last 6 over the course of the end of March and April. And they are starting May with a victory, it seems, before they head to Newcastle next week, and on the final day we'll head to Chelsea, or we'll host Chelsea, sorry, on the final day of the season. Actually, I don't think they will play Chelsea on the final day of the season. That's a catch-up game. They'll actually be hosting Manchester United on the final day of the season. They have 3 more games to come. Brighton. Bailey. Over the top it goes. Watkins was nowhere near it, and Veltman just headed it back to his keeper calmly and with composure. No threat there from Aston Villa from that point of view. And it's been a pretty dismal display from Aston Villa this afternoon. Really showing the effects of that intense game on Thursday night. But it's no excuse. They've got the quality, they've got the ability, and they've certainly have the squad to show more than what they've shown today. It's just been really poor in all areas for Aston Villa all afternoon. And Brighton deserved the win without a shadow of a doubt. And time to say player of the match, and I could have said it about 20 minutes ago because there was no doubt in my mind who was getting it, and it's Simon Adingra. He's been an absolute sensation. He's been incredible for Brighton today against Aston Villa. He's tore Villa to bits at times, absolutely tearing their fullbacks and their defence to bits, playing balls in behind, making runs, causing problems, winning that penalty that eventually led to the Brighton goal. He's been a star in the Brighton attack this afternoon, and he deserves the Player of the Match award wholeheartedly. Corner for Villa here. Maybe a late chance to equalise. Bailey to take this corner. What a moment this would be in the dying embers. Bailey, left foot across in. Headed away at the front post. Back in by Cash. Flicked on, but flicked on to his own goalkeeper there from one of the Brighton players, and Verbruggen will catch pretty easily. With 90 seconds to go. Surely time has run out for Aston Villa, and this game is really will be coming to a pretty dismal and a pretty deserved defeat for Aston Villa. Doesn't get any easier for Aston Villa they're on their travels again in midweek. They head to Olympiacos to try and avenge that 4-2 defeat from the first leg of the semi-final of the Europa Conference League, to try and get a final. And then they head back to Villa Park to face Liverpool in their final home game of the season next Monday night, before they head to Crystal Palace on the final day of the season in around about 2 weeks' time. Matty Cash has just got a yellow card for a foul he committed, so Brighton will have a free kick later on the last 30 seconds of this game, and surely they'll do their very best to keep it up this edge of the pitch. As now Villa another opportunity at goal, or any sort of chance at goal. And they'll just try and run the clock down here, Brighton, as much as they possibly can. Here's Barco. Down the line it goes to Enciso, who holds it at the corner flag. Chips it into the box looking for Barco. Barco holds it off. Barco running out of room, but Pedro will now carry it to the corner and gets a goal kick to Aston Villa. But Pedro waving the crowd to cheer them on for the dying seconds of this one. A much needed victory indeed. It's actually a corner they did get. The decision was changed there pretty quickly by the referee. Thought it was a goal kick, but decision changed, so a corner it will be, and that will be surely the last action. The corner played, and that is it. It's all over. And Brighton, in almost 2 months of waiting for it, they've had their first win in a long while. 6 games without a win in the league. A tough spell of the season, but a well-deserved and hardly fought victory against Aston Villa here on the South Coast. Their first home victory in almost 3 months, but their first victory in the Premier League since the 10th of March. A well-deserved victory, and they fought ever so hard for it. Simon Adingra winning the penalty, Pedro hitting the penalty that was saved, but latching upon the rebound and the first to react to put it into the back of the net. Pedro with the winner. Simon Adingra, the player of the match without a shadow of a doubt. Final score from the Amex Stadium. Brighton 1, Aston Villa 0. And that rounds us all off. We're back in around about half an hour's time, less than that. Liverpool take on Tottenham from Anfield. Kick off in around about half an hour's time. Do join us for that. See you shortly.